Hi everyone, how are you? Today I'm going to talk a little bit about physical performance in animation. Most of you guys understand weight and timing. So what I thought I'd do is I'd talk a little bit more about some of these other specific rules that I've learned along the way and that you might find interesting. And I'm just going to start with curve reversals. You have your line of action, right? You understand what the line of action is. It's that nice curve, and you base your pose over that curve, and it helps sell energy. Well, curve reversal is basically where you have that line of action facing in one direction, and then in your next pose, the curve or the line of action is facing in the other direction. So you might start with a C shape curve for your line of action, and then it inverts to a back to front C shape. Um, and what it does is it helps add interest to your motion. But also, what it does is it can help illustrate this idea of force, that there really is some sort of physical exertion going on. The reason that you want to have a curve reversal, or what we often call a shape change, is so that your animation isn't boring, but also so that it really helps sell this idea that there is an energy or some sort of exertion. So selling weight and balance. So here we've got this little guy, and he's lifting this snake. Now we've got our curve. We start off somewhat with a curve. Well, it's actually a straight line like this, but we're selling this idea that there's this force coming in this direction. Okay, and if you watch, it's got this nice straight here. Okay, um, so we're going from this shape, tight little ball, if you like, into this shape here, nice and straight. Okay, so that's what we're thinking when we're thinking of shape change. And this is just really helps add contrast to your performance. But then we've got this cool, you know, another shape change from here into that. Okay, and if you look closely, it's kind of subtle, but we have a C shape curve coming this way, and then when he's really straining, you can see that the chest is curving in the opposite direction. Okay, so we're going from that to very subtly this. Okay, and that's what helps sell, the strain. Okay.
950 tire.
So if we were to look at this guy here, you can see that we're adopting these principles from what we see in real life. So we're going from this nice little ball shape, okay, and we've got our line of action, which is kind of curved in that direction, and then just back here, you almost get a very subtle curve in the opposite direction, okay, or a curve reversal, and then you get this really cool S. It's a great shape change as well. So we've got this fantastic line of action coming all the way through here. The neck is craned forward. Whenever you really want to show exertion, if you drop the neck, so that it's sinking into the shoulders, that will help sell pressure. Okay, if he was to have his neck that was straight up like this, you're not going to get that sense of real force, like he's really struggling. If we're ever struggling with something, you drop your neck into your chest, and then we go from that, and you watch the shape change into that. Okay, so we're going from a curve, nice C, into an inverted C later on down the track. Okay, and one of the reasons that I'm bringing this up is because often I see animators who keep the line of action facing in the same direction all the way through their motion. And the movement might look okay, but it just doesn't have that energy, which is selling, the exertion. Okay, so the way to do it is through shape changes. So going into, really small shapes like this, looking at your line of action, and then with contrast, adding inverted or curve reversals. Well, your line of action going in a different direction, and then also changing the shape in which your character, from which your character started. Okay, now all of this really depends on what your character's doing, and this isn't a rule of thumb, but it's just something that I've really analysed or noticed a lot over the years, and it's something which, if you adopt these principles, it can really help make your animation look kind of cool. So this one here is fantastic. It's just one of the I think it's just one of the greatest pieces of animation ever. You just look at the exaggeration on these legs, and there's so much that I love about it. So like the legs are going crazy, but notice how still the head is here. Okay, because we want to see that read on the face. We want to be able to see the expression on the face. So if the head was moving up and down, while he was staring over in this direction, we wouldn't be able to see that expression. And there's something comical about, seeing this amount of energy contrasted with hardly any motion in the head. So lots of energy in the legs, and then hardly any in the head there. And once again, we start to see these curve reversals. So, or shape changes. So, nice C shape here. Let's just have a look. I'll just go forward just a little bit. And then, you have your anticipation. So we've got our energy, a line of action coming this direction, and then it switches so that it's coming back in the opposite direction to help sell this idea of force. Okay, there's a great piece here. This is what we would call angular momentum. So when we're rolling, when we're tumbling, we have all these shape changes depending on the speed in which your character is rolling. It's great seeing these old 2D cartoons without motion blur, because you can really see, in 3D these days, this would just be blurred out. But you can really see, this art to the pose and to the drawing. The choices that the animator has made, he's trying to get this into a nice ball shape. So you can see the choices that the animator has done here, so that he's really simplifying this shape. He's even broken the leg backwards here so that it kind of flows on through, that line flows on through the hand, up through the wrist, through the head, and then down the back. And that's just brilliant. And we'll talk about angular momentum later.